Some players walk away when their bodies say enough. Others hear that voice and refuse to listen. Rugby is brutal. Careers can change in one tackle, one awkward landing, one split second. And yet, some players suffer serious injuries and still come back stronger, tougher, and more determined than ever. Today, we're counting down 11 rugby players who suffered major injuries but refused to give up. From shattered knees to season-ending blows, these players chose resilience over retirement. Let's start the countdown. Starting at number 11, Anthony Gelanche. Anthony Gelanche's career hit a major roadblock when he tore his ACL just months before the 2023 Rugby World Cup. For a back rower whose game is built on physical dominance, this was the worst possible timing. Gelanche defied the odds, returning to captain France in a warm-up match and starting in the World Cup. He looked like his old bone-crushing self. However, the injury shadow followed him. Just as he had reclaimed his status as one of the world's premier back rowers, he suffered another serious injury to his other knee in early 2024, a partial ACL tear. This second blow led many to wonder if his body could sustain his high-impact style of play. Many players never return the same after an ACL injury. Gelanche faced long rehabilitation, doubt, and pressure, but he refused to accept that this was the end. He committed fully to recovery and came back determined to reclaim his place.
Now at number 10, Romain Ntamack. Romain Ntamack missing the 2023 Rugby World Cup was devastating. A serious knee injury ruled him out just before the biggest stage in the sport. While ACL tears are common in modern sports, the timing and psychological weight for Ntamack were catastrophic. Ntamack wasn't just a player, he was the heartbeat of the French golden generation. Missing a once-in-a-lifetime home World Cup is the kind of blow that breaks a player's spirit permanently. Watching from the sidelines while your team competes is mentally brutal, especially when you're expected to lead. Ntamack stayed patient, trusted the recovery process, and returned with maturity and composure.
Moving on to number 9, Quinn Tupou. Quinn Tupou's rise with the All Blacks was repeatedly interrupted by knee injuries. Each setback threatened his momentum and confidence at international level. The timing was catastrophic. The injury forced him to miss the entire 2023 Super Rugby season and ultimately dashed his dreams of competing in the 2023 Rugby World Cup in France. Tupou admitted to feelings of anger and resentment toward the incident, noting it was a terrible injury to go through and that he struggled with confidence in his knee once he finally returned to the field. Many players struggled to recover mentally from repeated injuries, but Tupou refused to fade. He kept rebuilding, refining his game, and trusting the long-term process.
Next up is number 8, Beauden Barrett. Beauden Barrett has faced injuries and concussion concerns throughout his career, raising questions about longevity. The injury didn't just sideline him, it fundamentally altered his daily life. Barrett described a harrowing period of persistent headaches, brain fog, and extreme sensitivity to light. For a world-class athlete whose game relies on split-second decision-making, the inability to focus on a screen or exercise without nausea was a terrifying reality. He was unable to train at high intensity for a significant portion of the off-season. For a player who has already achieved so much, walking away would have been understandable. Instead, Barrett adapted his game, managed his workload, and proved that intelligence can extend greatness.
Now we're at number 7, Cam Roigard. Cam Roigard's breakthrough was halted by a serious knee injury just as he was establishing himself at the highest level. Losing momentum can be devastating in professional rugby. Unlike an ACL tear, which is common and has a well-trodden recovery path, A ruptured patellar tendon is often considered more career-threatening for a player whose game relies on explosive acceleration and snapping passes. The timing was agonizing. Roygaard was widely expected to be the starting number 9 for the All Blacks' inaugural season under coach Scott Robertson. Instead of leading his country, he found himself unable to walk or put weight on his leg for weeks post-surgery. Roygaard took the long road back, focused on recovery and mental strength, and returned calmer, sharper, and more composed. Continuing with number 6, Franco Mostert. Franco Mostert's career has been built through pain. Broken bones, concussions, and constant physical punishment have followed him for years. Mostert suffered a broken hip and a fractured pelvis. For a rugby player, especially a lock whose job requires immense lower body power for scrummaging and jumping, this is often a career-over diagnosis. He had to undergo extensive surgery to have his hip and pelvis reconstructed. Yet he keeps answering the call when it matters most. His refusal to quit is exactly why he remains trusted in the biggest matches.
Now at number 5, Damian Willemse. Damian Willemse's early career was filled with promise, but injuries threatened to stall his progress. Back problems and repeated setbacks disrupted his rhythm and confidence. Willemse was initially omitted from the 2019 World Cup squad due to this injury. It felt like the dream had died before it really began. He was sent to Saracens in England on a short-term loan to prove his fitness and find his feet again. It was a sink or swim moment. Had his knee flared up again in the damp, heavy pitches of the Premiership, the Springbok selectors likely would have moved on to the next prodigy. Instead of fading, Willemse became more versatile, more composed, and more complete as a player.
Next is number 4, Sasha Feinberg Mngomezulu. Sasha Feinberg Mngomezulu's progress was slowed just as he was beginning to establish himself. The danger wasn't just the physical break, but the timing and the complications. Being sidelined just as he was touted for a Springbok call-up led to fears that he would lose his edge. Many players return from such injuries lacking the confidence to plant their foot and take a hit. He faced setbacks during his recovery. Just as he seemed ready to return, niggling issues in his knee and leg persisted, leading to whispers that his body might not be built for the rigors of the professional senior game. For a young playmaker, being sidelined can feel like everything is slipping away. He stayed patient, focused on fundamentals, and trusted the process. Into the top 3 at number 3, Joseph Aukuso Suaalii. Joseph Aukuso Suaalii faced injury setbacks under intense public scrutiny. With massive expectations surrounding his career, every setback was magnified. At the time, there were major fears that he would miss the British and Irish Lions tour, a once-in-a-decade event considered a pinnacle of a rugby career. His coach, Dan McKellar, described it as a race against time, as Suaalii had already missed 4 games earlier that season due to a toe injury. Suaalii underwent surgery and lost nearly 5 kilograms while unable to eat solid food. However, he recovered in time for the Lions series, where he ultimately started in all 3 tests. Injuries tested his confidence as much as his body, but he stayed committed and trusted the long-term vision. Now at number 2, Taniela Tupou. Taniela Tupou's career has been defined by physical setbacks. Knee injuries, calf problems, and repeated fitness issues constantly disrupted his momentum. Many questioned whether his body could survive elite rugby. Tupou defied the odds to make it back for the 2023 Rugby World Cup in France. However, the nearly ended narrative resurfaced almost immediately. After a dominant opening performance, he suffered a hamstring tear in training. In the high-pressure environment of a World Cup, many thought this was the final straw.
2 major leg injuries in under a year for a man of his size often signals the beginning of the end. He watched from the sidelines as the Wallabies suffered a historic pool stage exit, unable to help his country during their lowest point. Tupou didn't quit. He spent 2024 rebuilding his strength and, perhaps more importantly, his durability. Today, he remains one of the most feared props in the world, having proved that even a Thor can survive a brush with career-ending reality. And finally, number 1, Fraser McReight. Fraser McReight's injuries came at critical moments in his Wallabies career. For a flanker whose game relies on speed and breakdown dominance, time away from the field can be devastating. More recently, McReight gained attention for his longevity in health mindset after playing through an injury that could have had long-term consequences if left untreated. In July 2024, during a test match against Wales, he broke his hand in the opening minute of the game. Unaware of the severity, he played out the rest of that match and 3 subsequent tests with the fracture. It was only after a scan revealed the break that he underwent surgery. He later noted that while he initially hoped it was just ligament damage, he prioritized surgery to ensure his longevity in the sport, as playing indefinitely on a poorly healed fracture could have ended his effectiveness as a world-class flanker. Despite these physical hurdles, McReight has not only survived these scares, but excelled, eventually being named Wallabies captain in 2025. Rugby is unforgiving, but these players prove that resilience can be just as powerful as talent. Which player on this list impressed you the most, and who should be included in the next countdown? Thanks for watching.